بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي.
Hello. Today I have divided the lecture in two parts. In first part we will see different perspectives on personality, and in second part we will see different approaches explaining the development of gender roles. First of all, personality. Sometimes we describe individuals in a predictive way, such as we know them or their behavior. We see some behaviors as consistent in someone and then describe that behavior as a stable pattern in someone across the situations. The concept of personality provides a simple way to talk about consistency within the behavior of an individual. So, personality may be defined as the pattern of behavior which are characteristic of an individual and which tend to be consistent across situation and over time. For example, you can say about one of your friend that he is short tempered. It means that you are pretty sure that you understand it as a consistent characteristic of your friend. Okay, now let's see different perspectives on personality. The biological approach, as you have studied, it emphasizes on heredity and physiological structure in shaping human behavior. To look at personality, this perspective focus on those aspects of the personality that are associated with temperament. Temperament in biological approach is the behavioral is the behavioral tendency which we believe to be determined by heredity, such as emotionality, sociability, and fearfulness. First evidence to support this approach comes from the twin study. A comparison of fraternal and identical twins indicated that identical twins were more like in activity level, in irritability and sociability than the fraternal twins. And in longitudinal studies, it was also observed that heredity influenced the temperament. Researchers also found that hereditary influence on higher level aspect of personality, such as heredity may influence our recreational and vocational interest as well. However, the limitation is that the twin studies are difficult to evaluate, as the genetic factor and human interaction with the environment both can influence the temperament. The reactions of the other people to physical attributes like attractiveness may influence some aspect of behavior. So it is difficult to evaluate that what actually is determining the personality. For example, in one of the study, the researchers found that there are interactions between the temperament of a child and the caregiver, which over time can affect behavior. For example, mothers may tend to respond more favorably to babies who are not irritable, and this interaction can influence in shaping behavior. This type of temperament environment interaction may even extend across generations. Now, the second evidence. Second type of evidence suggests biological basis of personalities from longitudinal studies. And these studies, because these are longitudinal studies, they seem better than the twin studies to determine the personality traits as hereditary or otherwise. So, developmental psychologist Jerome Kagan used this approach to look at a trait that he calls behavioral inhibition. And behavioral inhibition is the tendency to withdraw from unfamiliar people or situations. For example, the social anxiety. Inhibited children tend to be shy and they experience anxiety when faced new situations or new environments. And this tendency is called inhibition. It was found that those children who were either inhibited or uninhibited at 21 months of age, they tended to remain so both at age 7 and at adolescence. So these longitudinal studies proved that the hereditary influence on personality is somehow biologically is more stable. And then these studies were successful in establishing the evidence-based support to genetic influence of personality. Sorry. Now let's move towards the behavioristic approach. The behavioristic approach is opposite to biological approach. In our earlier lectures, you have read about nature and nurture, and you also know the behaviorist approach emphasizes on power of the environment and the reinforcement in shaping behavior and personality. As we have already studied in detail about environment, reinforcement and conditioning, in this presentation I will focus on the question that if environment and reinforcement is the key to shape personality or behavior, then how can we explain the consistent behaviors? Skinner and other behaviorist psychologists, they responded to this problem, and they suggested that personality is simply a perceived pattern with no basis within the individual. So there is nothing innate or natural. They suggest two factors which could produce the consistency to the personality. First, the cumulative effect of the reinforcement. And it says that each time when we are reinforced, the influence of that reinforcer is an addition to the prior reinforcements in same situations. So this cumulative history of reinforcement shapes consistent behavior. Hence, our consistent behavior is a product of prior pattern of reinforcement and then the cumulative history of the reinforcement. So this was the first factor that Skinner and his fellow men suggested. The second factor that explained behavioral consistency is the role of environmental consistency. We cannot overlook the consistent environment in which we are living. Same place, same people, same duties, routines, same conditions, similar interactions, and these all contribute in environmental consistency. And then this environmental consistency corresponds to our consistent behavior. Overall, according to behavioristic approach, the behavioral pattern which we call personality are simply the result of the cumulative effects of reinforcement and the environmental consistency that we usually overlook. Okay, now the cognitive approach. Cognitive approach explains the cognitive processes that influence behavior and personality. As you have already studied this perspective, here in brief, I will just point out some brief significant dimensions of the personality that we have read and will discuss in the lecture again. First is the social perception, that is how we see other people and ourselves in relation to others. And within the social perception, then we have the attribution theory, that is the kind of inferences that we make about the causes of behaviors, both our own and then of the other people's. And then we also have attribution error that you have studied before. And then we have social cognitive learning theory, or you can say cognitive social learning theory, and you have read about it a lot. That is based on two theoretical assumptions. First, we learn by interactions and imitations, modeling, and that is called the social learning component of this theory. And then there is a cognitive component of this theory, that is the mental constructs, the schemata that actually works to shape behavior. So these two assumptions contribute in cognitive social learning theory. So one explicit example in this regard may be the effect of parenting styles. Our parenting styles and parenting expectations, they influence on children's behavior. I will suggest you to read Personality, Parents and Culture on page 344. This information is given in a box, and this is pretty useful information. I would like you to read it before the next class. Okay, now we will talk about the psychodynamic approach. I hope you remember the innate drives, id, ego, superego, and psychosacral stages, and then the defense mechanism. Well, this was all about human personality as explained in psychodynamic perspective. Again, I will advise you to watch previous lectures and then connect it with the human personality, and you will easily learn this section of your book. Here I will just make some points to talk during our online class. What do we know from Freud in this context? First, the Freud theory is fairly explicit in terms of the basic issues of development. So it talks about the basic issues of development. Second, Freud is interested in innate drives, and then it means that it is the role of the heredity that is clearly argued in Freud's theory. And third, he clearly recognized the importance of nurture, particularly in terms of the effect of early experience. So you see, the role of nature and the role of nurture both are the topics discussed in psychodynamic approach in Freud's theory. Now we will move to humanistic approach. Humanistic approach includes a large number of specific theories which share certain basic assumptions, but they also differ in many details. But we will emphasize on the work of Carl Roger to explain personality in humanistic perspective. I know you have learned about Carl Roger and his contribution, so I will mention few important points here. First, the actualizing tendency, that is biologically based drive to reach one's full potential. The biologically based drives to reach one's full potential. It means the natural desire to reach full potential. The second is cognitive and experiential process of growth. That means that we grow with our experience, and we grow while we cognitively engage ourselves in those experiences. So this is not similar to the biological based drives. Then the third is phenomenological approach. That means that the behavior can only be understood in terms of the meaning the individual gives to it. So it's quite subjective. So in Roger's theory, theory of personality, over time, through a continuous process, each person comes to define their self and their ideal self. So now the self, it stems from actualizing tendency, that is the biological drives, or biological drives to reach full potential. But the ideal self is influenced by our experience and then our interaction with the other people. So this was all about the different perspectives on personality. As a brief comparison, you will read the chapter, you will know more, and in our lecture we will talk about it. Now a little bit about gender roles, and we will have a brief look at different perspectives on gender roles. I will just provide the highlights in this presentation, and we will discuss in the class later on. First of all, the biological perspective on gender. We can differentiate between boy and a girl by birth, and now even it is possible now to find out the gender of the child before birth. So how do we find the gender of the child before birth and by birth? So it means this is a biological process. Then the hormonal differences between male and female and their influence on the body as the child grows up. This is all the biological tools that we use to differentiate between the male and the female. But this leads to the biological essentialism that is later used to write a cultural and social script of gender norms and roles. For example, in behavioristic approach, we do gender by reinforcement. We shape gendered behavior, connecting it with biological essentialism, and then elaborate biological differences through reinforcement. In cognitive perspective, our gender behavior corresponds to our gender schema. The concept about gender are processed cognitively like several other concepts and categories, and then we are able to identify gender clothing, gender toys, gender activities, and gender interactions. In psychodynamic approach, even though Freud did not see innate drives as gender oriented, but if you see his psychosexual stages of development, he mentioned the development of gender roles in resolving the Oedipal conflict and then the process of identification. And also you will find this interpretation Electra complex as well. But in humanistic perspective, we don't see too much about the gender roles, and even if we see, it is more about the positive regard, and that is similar to reinforcement. I hope this lecture is useful for you to just have a comparative idea of different perspectives on gender and personality. But when you will study the chapter 7, and especially the page number 399 to onwards till the end of the chapter, you will get a lot of learning. I will suggest you to read these pages and then connect it to your earlier learning, and then you will be able to find out the comparison and even more points you can add into it. Thank you very much. See you in our next lecture. Hopefully by the end of this Ramzan we will also be finishing our course, and in our last class we will have an overall talk about the perspectives of psychology and the history of psychology. Thank you very much. You can post your question on Microsoft Teams.